The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood is a story set in the United States modern times. It's a story that focuses on the effects the implementation of a theocratic government has on the main character Offred, a handmaid in the Republic of Gilead. The book was written in 1985. During those times, the U.S. was undergoing a period of increase in military spending and the start of a new arms race between superpowers. At the time, the president was Ronald Reagan, a conservative who was very centered on the opposition to abortion, except in cases of rape, incest, or threats to mother's life. He was quoted as saying, "If there is a question as to whether there is life or death, the doubt should be resolved in favor of life." The Handmaid's Tale focuses a lot on this topic as the whole book revolves around the idea that the children should be kept and are seen as a blessing from the Lord, even though the handmaids, who have to carry the commander's children, have been brought to doing this without their consent. This relates a lot to what was going on back in the 80s because policies against abortion were adopted.
As the story of The Handmaid's Tale takes place in a modern United States, the creation of its society is primarily the result of one particular event. In order to take control over the population, they shot the president and machine-gunned the Congress, and the army declared a state of emergency. Because of this, the U.S. government was eradicated as those in power were killed, causing society to be in a place of disorder and concern. The armed attack was blamed on terrorists of a different race and religion, and a political group known as the Sons of Jacob took control while civilization was in chaos, restricting the freedoms of civilians due to their full jurisdiction over the government. With this in mind, the Sons of Jacob used their power to model society based on Christian beliefs and teachings from the Bible, remodeling it into law and creating the world of Gilead. From analyzing the messages and themes present in The Handmaid's Tale, Margaret Atwood has explored the idea of what if women lost their freedom. Does the handmaids not have the ability to have any rights of their own, seen by being owned by the commanders, with the protagonist being called Offred, the author presents a world where women are extremely suppressed. With this in mind, she has tried to warn audiences of how quickly their privileges can be taken away, as through the protagonist of the novel, we see that she describes the transition to the Society of Gilead as one that was not apparent in the beginning and happened gradually over time. Taking this into consideration, Margaret Atwood demonstrates a possibility of a world where women have lost their ability to even be thought of as human beings, which seemingly has become a thought that is not too far from reality.
Those in power, primarily the leaders of Gilead, believed they were creating a society that restored order and moral clarity in response to perceived crises in the world, such as environmental degradation, declining birth rates, and social chaos. The leaders employed a radical interpretation of scripture to legitimize their practices. They believed that they were fulfilling divine will, which provided them with a sense of righteousness and purpose in their oppressive policies. They believed that returning to a more patriarchal, religious framework would revive the moral fabric of society. They thought by enforcing strict gender roles, they could eliminate what they saw as the chaos and immortality of the past. The leaders viewed women's declining fertility as a crisis that needed urgent attention. By instituting the handmaid system, they aimed to solve this problem through forced reproduction, seeing it as a way to ensure the survival of their society. This belief is shared in the novel with a conversation between the commander and Offred about the changes made. He states that the life is better now, and when questioned by Offred, he states, "Better never means better for everyone, it always means worse for some." In Gilead, power is concentrated in the hands of a few elite men, while women are stripped of their rights and autonomy. This power disparity manifests in several ways. The first being gender hierarchy. Women are categorized and subjugated based on their reproductive capabilities. Handmaids, like the protagonist Offred, are forced to servitude to bear children for the ruling class. This reduction of women to their biological functions diminishes their identity and undermines their humanity. This is shown through cruel punishments and grueling work. The second is surveillance and control. The regime employs surveillance to maintain control over citizens. The Eyes, Gilead's secret police, instill fear, ensuring that individuals remain compliant. This persuasive monitoring inhibits free thought and expression, forcing characters to internalize their oppression.
The Handmaid's Tale is strikingly close to our own reality, which can be seen primarily through recent events that have taken place in the United States. As the novel demonstrates an oppressive society primarily for women, being not only exploited but having their freedoms restricted, this can be seen in numerous aspects taking place today, considering the book was published in 1985. Firstly, with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, women in certain states in the U.S. have lost the legal ability to have an abortion, taking away their rights regarding their own bodies. Like how the handmaids must become pregnant and carry children to term due to the religious beliefs of society and their low birth rate of their world due to environmental issues. This is now truly happening in the United States as well as other parts of the world, as women have continued to be suppressed due to various faiths, but once again, the decreasing birth rate has now begun to concern the economy and furthermore, the climate crisis. Additionally, the manner in which Gilead was put in place, that being the Capitol was overthrown, is almost identical to the events of January 6th in 2021, as the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. was too stormed. That being said, the coup outcomes differ, as thankfully, the one in our world was unsuccessful, whereas that of the novel was accomplished. Taking these factors into consideration as the closest to reality, it raises the question if The Handmaid's Tale can be considered a dystopia at all.